see.
What is up, people?
What's going on?
Let me get clipped in here. Get all our devices synchronized. Let's see. Let me find the YouTube.
I'm gonna have to get out of it because it ain't coming up on mine.
Where is it at? Oh, it just popped up. Ha! Turn that down. Shazam!
Yep, there we go.
How y'all doing? Good to see y'all tonight. We got all kind of stuff. We got questions that people have emailed. We got a small giveaway. If you won stuff last week, it got in the mail. You'll probably get it next day or two. We got some stuff we're giving away, and then we'll hop over on Facebook like we did last week for a few minutes and say hey to those folks, and you feel free to jump over with us. But howdy Brad, howdy William. Let's see, I'm looking for an arrow backstop. Have you got anything you can recommend? They make one, and like Lancaster sells it, but it is expensive, and it's like a knitted material, and they use it in the National Archery in Schools program. But last time I checked, it was $200 or $300 for a 10-foot piece. So to me, that's way too expensive.
Yeah.
What else could we use? Really, what we usually tell people is if they want something fancy, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
You said the horse mats were too big and bulky, but we recommend that sometimes. And then I don't know if you live near a lake, but sometimes like around here we got a lake, and all the boat dock places have that old styrofoam. I guess they've removed. You can go get chunks of it pretty easy around here.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know because
not unless you actually
bought a big target
or kind of built your own backstop, I guess.
And you could. I'm just trying to think. Does anybody else watching know of any ideas? He's trying to put up a backstop, to like prevent an arrow from zinging across behind his target. I can't really think of anything else. We, at our 100-yard target here, there's a Michelin plant in town, and they change out their conveyor belts twice a year. So we got some fellas that work there that come in here a lot, and they'll bring us those conveyor belts, and they're 8 foot wide by about 30 yards long. So we cut one and hung it up, and it'll stop an arrow. It's hard to get the arrow back out of, but at least it's there,
I think he's breaking arrows too, so that might not work because that conveyor belt likes
it's stout. Yeah.
It's stout. I mean, other than just, I don't know how big your target is, but maybe a square bale of hay.
Yeah.
Just something you can stand it on in.
At least slow it down. It might hang out the back of it, but
yeah, at least it'd slow it down.
We let me answer this right here.
But other than that, I can't think of anything else. But like I said, if you can get a hold of an old piece of, or not an old piece, but a piece of styrofoam out from under a boat dock, that'd be your best bet because it'll last a long time.
Yeah. I used to use that all the time. Let's see. Yeah, he said, Average Joe, I think he said, how'd he word it? He wants to be able to take it up and put it down rocky hillside behind his target. The horse stall mat is too heavy and bulky.
The old grain bags, man, I didn't think about them.
That's true. Do we see a lot of center serving wear, issues with short axle axle bows? Back and forth. Like when I do those little tuning videos, if you tie those little knot ties inside the loop and try to do all that, usually it kind of helps not slide that loop together with that knot pinch and all that stuff. It's just according to the bow. Like there's a bear bow sitting over here with a factory string on it, and the guy he didn't buy it from us, which is fine, but he brought it in and he's got all kind of serving issues, but it's it's typical factory string stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just according to what all's going on.
I didn't think about it. You could actually get a couple pieces of carpet and use.
Actually, that's not a bad idea.
Who said that? I'm looking.
Darren.
Brad,
I don't think I've seen that, but I will look in a second. Let's see. Get a better target, and then like you can always like our 100-yard target's like a big 4x4 target we built, you know, and I found something online about how to build it. This has been 6, 7, 8 years ago now, but it's just a big 4x4 frame. I think it's 2.5 foot deep, and then I put thin chicken wire on the front, a piece of carpet real tight, and then pack the top of it with old clothes. I just cut all the zippers and buttons off because I wanted a big target to put down there.
Yeah.
And it works good. But again, it wouldn't be very mobile. I mean, you could put wheels on it, but still, that's not very
It kind of be
mobile.
big and bulky, but you know, the old grain bags would work. You know, if you can get a hold of a piece of styrofoam, that would work. And the carpet. And what else was I going to say? It just left me.
Carpet's not a bad idea.
No,
You could just layer it and maybe hook it together somehow and have it just throw it back there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me look Brad up. Brad, the Spartans for a 6-pack are
75, I think.
Yeah, 75. I had to think. 74.99. So the wraps are like an extra $1 a piece. So you'd be at what, 81, something like that. Yeah, a few moving blankets wouldn't hurt either, especially if you folded them up a couple times and made it thick. I mean, it's not. Well, it'd be easily portable. That'd be the thing. You know what I mean? If you could maybe hang a line or something and drape it over it, it's at least going to slow it down and stick out the back. You might tear up some fletchings, but
Yeah. I mean, if you want some moving blankets for cheap, go to Harbor Freight, clip you out one of their coupons for their moving blankets, and they're super cheap.
Yep.
I asked this in our Facebook group, Friends at Archeryshack. What does everybody do during the off season besides, you know, prepping for next season, or, you know, do you hunt? I mean, hunt. We all hunt, but you fish, play golf, whatever. I threw that out there on Friends at Archeryshack earlier today. I meant to do it earlier than what I did, but
I've seen some people comment. KJ said
are you gonna try predator hunting?
A couple people said golf. Seen a fishing a time or two.
Kayak,
hiking.
Yep.
All kind of stuff.
So
I forgot about this. We're gonna stick with our usual some sort of giveaway. And like I say, if you won something last week, I was slack. I just got it in the mail. You'll get it tomorrow or Saturday probably. But we are going to give away, and it's nothing big, but again, it's stuff we got for free from the ATA show. So obviously it's just in a bag sitting, and I was like, well, we'll use it as a giveaway. I've got a cloak, fancy, what do you call this?
Little wristband.
Yeah, a little rubber wrist bracelet, whatever you want to call it. Not a bracelet, but I got a pack of Boning X veins that they gave us as samples in red and yellow, and a black widow deer lure, which we really like, sticker. So I'm just going to do it as one thing. Whoever wins gets it all. So let's do, pick a number between 1 and 25. Put it in the comments, and here in about 20, 30 minutes, we'll draw, and somebody can get this stuff. And again, I know I actually kind of forgot to find something to give away until like 3 minutes ago. So I ran in there and found this real quick. So,
but you know what, for people who wear a hat, I'm not a flat bill kind of person, but you can take these little bracelets and you can actually put them around the brim of your hat, and it'll bend them for you, keep them formed. And when you enter, make sure nobody else has picked a number.
Yeah.
We'll try to catch it before, but you know.
Between 1 and 25. I know we've been doing 1 and 20. Last week we got a little tight on number, so we'll bump it up to 25, and we'll do that at the end there. And then once we get off here, I know some of y'all are already in there. We're going to jump over to that Friends of the Archeryshack group and talk everybody. There's some folks that just don't deal with YouTube, and that's fine. But we'll jump over there for a minute if y'all want to follow us. Friends of the Archeryshack on Facebook.
There's one person that I'm surprised is not watching right now.
Her husband's here.
Oh, he is?
Yep.
Okay.
Darren's here.
Okay. I'm so used to seeing muddy ducks on there that.
Oh, yeah. Yep. He's here. I was thinking that too. I was like, nobody does. And I seen Darren pop up. But anyway, I'll announce the number thing a couple times like I always do. I'm going to bring up some questions that I had seen. and we'll chat about those. Number one was, what do you guys think about the EZV sight? And it obviously works. We had 2 in the shop last week on bows. I just think it's one of those you got to get used to it. But I could see the biggest benefit to that sight being a guy that's got a lot of target panic and cannot put a pin on a target. That might be the trick. But I also feel like there's a tiny smidgen, a little bit of extra room for error versus a pin, you know.
My biggest drawback on it is, you know, you've got your lines on both sides where it comes in that V. Is, you know, there's no way if you get in like a real low light condition, I mean, yeah, you can see your target, but to me, I would still like to have some kind of reference point of where my little lines were on my yardage is on the.
I think it's got, I can't remember, it's got something on there, don't it? A reference, I can't remember. And it comes with all those different inserts and you get it sighted in, but the, I don't know. I've seen more in the past year, and I feel like the advertising for it has went down in the past year or so. When it first came out, all you've seen all over all these forums was EZV, EZV.
Mm-hmm.
But I hadn't seen as much lately, so I don't know. But Reed said Big Boy Targets has a 4x6 foam backstop. I'll have to look that up because I'd like to see that myself. Here's another question for y'all.
Yep.
We need to ship. I done looked into this, can't find a good answer. We need to ship a big 50-pound target. Size is not that bad. I mean, a 2 foot by 2 foot target by what? How thick are them things? 10 inches, maybe a foot.
I don't think they're that. I don't think they're that.
They're
wide.
not that. But anyway, so
a good 8 to 10 inch wide.
But it's like 60 pounds. I didn't calculated with USPS and UPS and FedEx, and they're all wanting to rape us. So I don't know that there is an option to do it, but I'd like to figure it out.
Brad, those are fletched, and it does have they're crested straight from Black Eagle on the ones we got out there in the pack.
What's up, Mr. Adams? We got a couple Brads in here, so I gotta call you Mr. Adams. But yeah, let me go to the next question. I get a lot of left shots out of my bow. Any advice on what I'm doing wrong? Jackie just waved at me. If y'all hear some noise in the background, we still got a couple fellas over here building bowstrings. I told them to be quiet or we'd kill them. And anyway, they're being quiet. Or kind of quiet. I notice a lot of people, if you got just a little bit too long of a draw length and you got that left arm really stretched out, there's nowhere for that energy to go except left when the shot goes off. So I'd definitely take a look at your draw length. You know, that'd be the main. Other than that, look at some grip issues, you know, if you got any kind of weird torque thing going on. But that'd be my 2 main things that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, Brad Adams. Yeah, we're giving away a little something tonight. Just pick a number between 1 and 25. It's a cloak, little rubber wristband, some bone-in X veins, and a Blackwood a deer lure sticker.
Heck yeah. I'd like to start using a recurve. How many pounds should I start with? We've talked about this a couple times in other things, but if I was just 100% planning on backyard shooting, I'd go 35.
Mm-hmm.
If I had the intentions of deer hunting with it in the near future, I'd probably go 45.
Mm-hmm.
But 45 is a lot of poundage on a recurve, believe it or not, especially for somebody that don't shoot one much. I can take a 35 to me and I can get back and I feel like I can keep good form. Once I get up around 45, I can definitely tell I don't shoot a recurve much, you know. Let's see, is 13 taken?
13 not taken, but Reed, if you will pick again, Average Joe got 16 right in before you did. So, Reed, if you'll pick another number.
But yeah, somewhere between 35 and 45. If you think you might want to play with a recurve and then upgrade later before you hunt, I'd still go 35 and maybe 40. The only problem you get with a lower poundage recurve is you get kind of lazy and get some string pluck issues going on. But I like to be able to pull it back and for just a second hold it and aim and then let it go. Not be like, oh Lord, that's too much weight, because then I like half draw it and I let go before I get to my anchor point and all that stuff. So.
Well, what would you recommend in somebody with monkey arms like myself? Because most of them are.
Well, and that's the other thing. The poundage you see on a recurve is usually measured at like a 28-inch draw. So like if you're a 30 or 31, that's going to stack big time.
Yeah.
So you like TJ would want to start with a 30, and it's probably going to stack to 40. I mean, it's according to the bow. There's no real way of telling until you got it, but. With the nocks, here's my thought on nocks. I feel like a pin nock shoots the best, but is also the most dangerous. And I know when I say that, I don't mean like you're going to kill yourself, but out of all nocks we've shot around over the years, pin nocks are the ones that have trouble, especially with a higher poundage bow, like 65, 70, 75 pound bow, just because it's so small. We've seen some bust. We had one guy out here, he busted a pin nock, and when he shot, it blew his bow up. But I do feel like they fly better. Then you got like the G nock, it's a little bit more stout, but still small profile, and that's a good idea. And then of course you got your standard nock. What I've been shooting is the standard nock, but I've been shooting the little gold tip AccuLite nocks. They're the little bitty stubby looking nocks, because I feel like the vortex or the wind drag or whatever you want to call it is not as affected as much as a big ear sticking out there. And I feel like I got that stability. It ain't got to worry. I shot pin nocks for 4 years, never had any trouble. But when I seen his bow blow up out here because of them, I was like, that scares me. So I switched. And somebody told me they were shooting 70 pounds with pin nocks, and like after a couple dozen shots, they were having to switch them out because it was opening up the ears of them. So all that, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna switch next time I build some arrows.
Let's see.
The QAD nocks, I used to shoot them all the time. The only downfall to them, I love them. They go faster, they click on good, but there's no safety. I used to hunt with them, and I messed up one time, and when I was picking my bow up, an old doe or something came out. When I picked my bow up, I tapped my string, and that thing, boom, it clipped off and went to the ground. There's no, like, if you got a little bit of an ear, even if it kind of, you hit it and it unclicks, you still got a little bit of safety there, but not with those. But I really do like those nocks. Tuna nocks.
Yeah. Does Prime give a military discount or respected dealers? I'm not 100% sure.
I'll have to find out from Prime. We definitely do give a military discount, so just holler at us. I think our contact stuff's in the description.
It should be.
But I might call Prime and just ask them, like, if we specifically order a bow for a military person, would they do anything? I kind of feel like they would, but I don't know. I hadn't heard anything about it.
Well, we've never been asked that question either.
And also, on bowstrings, we got a military discount. So most people will shoot me an email, and I can give you the whole code and all that stuff. But appreciate your service.
Yep.
What black eagle shaft would you suggest for 26? Strictly whitetails.
With a 26-inch draw, he could almost get away. I mean,
there's about 3 or 4. I'm just trying to think if that was me, what would I go with?
You can run a carnivore, which is a little bit lighter shaft.
If you wanted a little speed.
If you wanted a little bit more speed with you being a 26-inch draw.
I like my little, I shot the Spartans too. Like the Spartans and the Renegades I've liked. I've hunted with both of them. I like to switch up and switch around just to make sure what we selling is legit. And either one of those would be a good idea. The Renegades are a little cheaper than the Spartan. Pretty much same. Well, actually a click smaller, but it's got a half out. If you like that sort of thing, I think it's a 64 smaller.
I think it is too. I think the Spartan is 18/64 and Renegades are 17.
Yeah.
But I'm running the Spartans this year, and so far from what little bit I've shot with them and everything, I mean, them little jokers are shooting really good out of my bow. So I'm so far impressed with them. But I shot the carnivores for a couple years now, and I really like them. I didn't have any any bad luck or any bad experiences with those?
So far, since we've dealt with Black Eagle for about 5 years now, I don't think I've had any bad luck out of any of them. I'm just trying to think.
I mean, the only one that they had a little bit of a run of bad luck was the Magnums, but those were your target airs.
Yeah. We didn't have trouble with them. We seen it out of a couple other people, but they did away with them because I think a lot of people were having trouble. But it was a big fat target thing. Somebody said, where's it at? What is the best aftermarket item for a bow, specifically a Tri-X? If you take out like accessories as far as like sights and wrists and stuff, if you're talking about just bow performance, I guess the string. Now a lot of people have complaints about zebra strings. They've came a long way. They do pre-stretch them now and all that stuff. We still have a lot of people come in and say, I hate them, put one of yours on it. But they're not near as bad as they once were, and they're not near as bad as some of the other strings we see from the factory. A string upgrade would be helpful. What else? Now, if we wasn't talking Tri-X, let's say we're talking a middle of the road bow or a cheaper bow, I'd definitely say a string, because them things just twist and go crazy.
Yeah.
Some of the cheaper Bear and PSCs and diamonds and all that, them things just go whirly-bird on you.
Yeah.
I'd definitely say string on that. If I just bought a Tri-X, I don't know. And then you got stuff like the Cool Hand Luke string stops. It's not necessarily a big deal on the Matthews, but on the primes, we've seen it take a lot of that after the shot sound out. So like if it was a prime, I'd probably say that would be something to look into.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard to say. Strings, string stops, something like that. Let me click back over here.
Can you slap an Archeryshack sticker over a Lancaster archery T-shirt? Oh, he talking to you. I was about to say I got a Bow Addicts on, but Muddy Ducks is in.
Oh, girl.
So, have you ever messed with cam adjustment versus draw stop being mistime, like one at 28.5 and the other at 30 to increase or decrease let off?
Yes. Specifically, mainly with PSE bows, especially pre-evolved bows, when their bows were kind of a little on the jumpy side, we had a lot of people want us to put, you'd put like the module on 28.5, but the stop on 29, and that extra ½ inch, you'd technically call that a 29-inch draw, so you'd have to adjust whatever for it. But you'd get a lot more valley instead of a quick dump over and it's ready to go, you know what I mean? So I've done that a lot on PSE bows, not so much other bows, but that's just mainly because we were deep into PSEs, and at the time they didn't feel like they had a ton of let off. But then when they came out with that Evolve cam where you can go 80, 85, 90, then everybody's like going crazy. So you never know, Brad. We might one day. We need the our next closest dealer to go away, and then we sure will. Let's see here. Muddy Ducks, I believe your husband was on here or may still be on here, and he may have told you if y'all are together, but we're giving away, and Muddy Ducks, I mailed your hat, but I was late mailing it, so it probably won't be till tomorrow or the next day till you get it. We're giving away a cloak, which is that little smoke puffer doohickey thing they came out with. I almost ordered some, but I was like, it's like $30-something. I don't know if people buy them, but I noticed, was it Academy or somebody got them, and they were selling the crap out of them. But anyway, we got a cloak, rubber wristband thing, a pack of demo X-Veins, and a fancy Black Widow deer lure decal.
I actually bought one of the cloaks, one of the little misters, and used
I think
it.
you and Jim Ford did, and everybody was happy with it. I just thought it was a little on the expensive side for a smoke blower, but I guess I was wrong.
Well, I think what they did was they tried to make an affordable ozonics. I mean, it's not. It doesn't mess with ozone. You can buy cartridges of Fresh Earth, and I got all kind of different scents, and you put it in it, and it'll miss. You can set it up from anywhere from like 3 to 12 seconds, I think. And I had a fox come in and wind blowing straight to him, and he never even knowed I was in the tree stand at about 10 yards. So,
but muddy ducks, we told them to pick a number between 1 and 25. You have to look back because there's, okay, you just picked 4. You're good. Let me make sure nobody else picked it. But, oh, that's not over my Gatorade. It was closed. Don't worry. Yeah, I think you're good with 4.
Yeah,
okay.
I believe so.
I don't know. I tie in peeps a little bit different according to the setup. Like, if somebody tells me they know they might move it, I got kind of one way I do it, and it's like where I do the loop and pull it through, because you can take your fingernails and slide it. If I know they absolutely don't want it to move, I do like the back serve method. That's pretty much it. I got a couple little tricks according to what's going on. Sometimes in tournament bows, I'll do like the serving method, wrap it up one leg and serve it. So it's just according to what the deal is.
DLR says, I'm hearing that changing D-loop height can help with aim, like raise the D-loop to kick the sight, aim up. Does this work? Does it mess with timing? I don't think it'll mess with the timing part, but
it wouldn't mess with the timing, but I mean, are you meaning like, what are you talking about? Like, would it kicking the arrow up or down as far as the level of the arrow? Because that would mess with the paper tune. Or do you mean like keeping it level but raising it up above the burger or below the burger type thing? If you're talking about that, some bows, according to how they're made, you can measure axle to axle, find the dead center of the string and mark it, and you'll be pretty much center of the burger hole. But there's a lot of bows that's not that way. If I can do it, a lot of times I'll do it, but there's sometimes bows are made with like the center of the bows near the grip or the shelf or lower below the shelf. I got you. I've never noticed a big difference. I have noticed we've had a couple bows. Most bows I put them dead center of the burger, just out of the gate. But I've had bows that wouldn't tune for whatever reason unless I brought it up a hair, but that's pretty rare. Mm-hmm. But as far as shooting it, I hadn't tested, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It'd be worth testing, but I hadn't tested it. In theory, if the cams have even payout, and your knock travel's perfect, you should be able to put a loop where the peep sight's at as long as the rest is up there and it's level, and it should feed out the same no matter where it's at. But that's in theory, and there's like a million things. It may be right, but if your cam timing's off a smidgen, maybe your knock travel's crazy. I've always wanted to build, and it would actually be simple at this point, a knock travel machine to where it would clamp the riser down where it absolutely would not move. You'd have a winch of a thing, and you'd be able to put like a marker or a pin and watch that knock travel and see if it moves, because I know that one guy on YouTube does that, and I feel like some of the Hoyt Defiant bows at the end of about the last inch or two of draw, that joker was going crazy, which tells you it's going to introduce that into the arrow, and all kind of bad stuff might happen. But then there's questions like, did he have the cams time perfect? Was the rotation, perfect? All that. Anyway. Yeah, let us know what you come up with if you do some testing.
Mm-hmm.
The loop, I think I'm tying it all the same. Sometimes on a whisker biscuit, I won't tie those little knot ties on it. But other than that, I think it's pretty much everything's the same. And I use that. Actually, I think somebody asked, hang on, let me bring up my questions again. Somebody asked me what glue do I use to dot those with. Hang on, I'll get somebody to throw it to me.
It might be over there at the air table.
Jackie, will you throw me that? Or it might be over there. Is that glue over there? TJ said he might have took it to the air table. I think he did. Here's the accelerator I use. This from the Hobby Lobby. And it's like half price of it's called Extreme Power Accelerator. It's like half price of the archery kind, and it smells the exact same, so I'm sure it's the same stuff. But the glue I use...
Muddy Duck says she still never got the SVG.
I know. I mentioned it to Dawn. I probably should mention it again. If it's not, I know I got a PNG an AI and a JPEG. Will any of those work by any chance? If not, I can get her to dig.
No, he's talking about the loop method we use on peep time.
The glue here, let me see, is that pretty much any runny super glue will work. And the brush kind's even better because you can be precise, because I'm all about not getting that on the center serving, just on that tied part. And to be honest, who I was watching do it and gave me the idea was old Jack Wallace. Jack, if you go back to the early Bow Junkie days, he takes sewing thread, super fine sewing thread, and in one continuous wraps it and wraps it and wraps it. I'm talking about like 20 or 30 times. And then he glues it, like pretty much no knots, just straight glues it. When I seen that, I was like, huh, that's different. And he was talking about he just wanted 2 perfect beads, you know, top and bottom of the knot. So I was like, well, that's pretty much what I'm doing. But if I put that dot of glue, that'll probably make it more round, or whatever the word is. And occasionally, according to how a knot's made, I don't have one sitting in front of me, but wherever they injection mold it, some of them were snagging that and wanting to untie it. So that glue fixes all those problems. And you can still get it off. I take my little cutters, and if I were to have to get it off, just cut it off.
I think he was talking about the loop method we use for tying the peeps in.
Okay.
I think. Now, I could be wrong there, Darren.
I got you.
And Lady Duck said, yeah, that would work.
Okay. I might can send that while we're on here. When you make a bowstring, how does the bowstring connect without coming apart? So I don't know what the easiest way. I'll try to explain it. I wish I could draw. There's 4 posts. So ultimately, you start it by just tying off one strand to the post, wrapping it around, let's say 28 times, according to the material, tying it back off to the post. And then you serve where the loops are going to be. Between the posts is where the loops are going to be. And then ultimately, that's the start of what's going to hold that string together. Then it's twisted, and the twist actually helps hold it together. Because if you look at like a Flemish string on a recurve, it don't have any serving holding it together. It's straight twist. Now, obviously not on a compound, but anyway, so we twist it, and then you got those big long. Now, I mean, just with that little bit of loop serving, we're putting it under 400 pounds, and it's stout. You know what I mean? And we've left them overnight at that. I never had one come apart with just that tiny bit of serving. But once you put that 18 or 20 inches on each end for the cam, it ain't going nowhere. If you put about, in my test, about 3 inches of serving pretty tight, if you grab one strand, you can't get it to pull through. It's so compressed in there. So that's pretty much how it works. And then once we lay it out, it gets tension on it. Then it gets twisted, tension on it. And pretty much tension stays on it through the whole process till we get done. And then we measure it. But hopefully that kind of answers that. Yeah, Jackie uses the brush glue for fletching too.
Mm-hmm. I've used pretty much all of it, so.
Let me see what else we got here. Thoughts on gearhead?
I seen something about gearhead the other day, and I can't remember what it was.
We're a dealer for them. Hadn't ordered but a couple. It's a good shooting bow. It just looks like it come off the Starship 2000.
I don't know, that new one they come out with. To me, it had a little bit more hand shot than, was it, the B series?
It did this year. I'm looking for this logo to forward.
Charles asks, when paper tuning a Bowtech Carbon Knight, if I'm getting a knock left tear, would you move the rest
To the right.
since there are no split cables?
Yeah, move it to the right. If you have to go like crazy right, you can always look into the shims and all that, but I'd just try barely moving it to the right and seeing what happens.
And I don't think that one has on the roller guard or cable guard, I don't think it has any way of it to kind of rotate or anything.
I don't think so.
What are y'all's thoughts on Athens bows?
I like them.
Mm-hmm.
The I'm gonna get I can't remember which one, but we got a local guy shooting one, and he brought one in, his newest one last year, I guess now. But it was a little heavy. But overall, I thought it was a good bow. It's a well-made bow. Ain't nothing to complain about.
No. I remember right, it was a pretty speedy bow too.
Download.
If I remember right, I can't remember. We see so many bows. Okay. Have you shot the new 2020 Obsessions, and what are your thoughts on them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, it was pretty much the same thing as far as feel as the last year or two. Nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of vibration. Nothing stood out, I guess, bad or good. You know what I mean? So,
you know, they switched up and went to the 5-piece string set this year on those. There was one of them, I can't remember which one. Did it have a super short brace height on it? Because I remember one it felt kind of ready to go once you hit the back wall. But it could have just been that they, you know, the bows wasn't tuned or timed or anything like that. But I mean, I want to say there was one that wanted to, once you got back and you let up just a little bit, it wanted to take off with you. New Breed. Is New Breed still consumer direct, or have they done went?
I think, if I remember right, the deal with New Breed was Kyle left, a real great guy, and they went consumer direct. I think for a short couple weeks, everybody thought they were closing. They didn't close. Now they're consumer direct, I think. So I'm not 100. They don't come to the shows anymore or anything like that. So they hadn't in about 2 years. I'm not 100% sure.
Because wasn't there like a couple guys that were in the, like a machinist and a production, a couple people went in and kept it open?
I feel like that was the story.
I think that's what it was. There was a couple people that went in, and because they actually did close it. And then they kind of renounced that and said, you know, we're going to keep the doors open.
I always liked when Kyle Knoll owned it and was the man, real nice guy. I don't remember what year it was, but we had done like a, what do you call it? New Breed gave the guy a bow. I can't remember what all he had going on in life, but he had a bunch of stuff going on. This was 4 or 5 years ago, and whoever was in charge of the whole thing asked me would I make the string for it, and I did. So I talked to Kyle and shipped the string to him, and they put it on, and I wish I could remember all the people that gave stuff now, but I think somebody donated a sight and the rest and all this. But anyway, he was real nice to work with, and we had a couple local guys shooting New Breed, and always real nice fellas, but I don't know what their status really is. I know they had tried to get into like bow dipping and customization there at the end, I think just to try to get a few bucks going to keep everything running, and that must have not worked. So I think they're still there, but not like they were. We deal with PSE, Bear, Prime. We're still in with Obsession. Obsession's got some weird stuff going on, so we hadn't messed with them in a little while.
Yeah.
And PSE, I think, is on we were huge into PSE for a while. And then, I don't know, just kind of got to where people wanted something different. That's when we picked up Prime. And now that Dudley and all these people went to PSE, it seems like there's a little more interest in PSE. So we may, I don't know if it'll be this year or next year, whatever. I mean, we've still ordered some, but we may get a little deeper into PSE next year. And Bear, they do great for us, especially for like a $500 and less bow and their crossbows. Am I missing any bows?
Prime, PSC, Bear, still, I mean, Gearhead, but we hadn't ordered any
this year. Yeah,
this year.
Gearhead, we're still, and then that's pretty much it. We've tinkered with a few other ones along the way, and just usually no interest type stuff. But I've always thought about looking into Bowtech because we don't really have a local Bowtech guy, but they kind of made me mad. 5 years ago, I reached out to them because we did have a local guy then that had them, but didn't stock them at all and never had. And I called them and I was like, hey, I'm interested in stocking y'all's bows. And they were like, so-and-so's the dealer or whatever, and he's 20 minutes down the road. And I'm like, yeah, but he's never had one in the shop. I sell him bowstrings, and I've never seen one there in the past 5 years. They were just kind of rude about it, so I didn't really reach back out. But They were one of the top bows we shot
Yeah.
this year at the ATA show. I liked a lot of them.
What is the Revolt X? I like that bow a lot. If you're just now tuning in, scroll back through the comments and pick a number between 1 and 25 that isn't taken. We're giving away a little cloak wristband, some bone-in X veins, and a Black Widow deer lure sticker.
The time kind of got away from me. We'll probably do that here in about 5 minutes. And then we're going to jump over on Facebook for a minute and chat with everybody over there. So feel free, if you're on Facebook, the group we're going to be in is called Friends of the Archeryshack. Last week when we jumped over, about 3 or 4 people requested to get in real quick,
Yeah.
and we clicked them in there. But anyway, we'll jump over there. We'll give it here a couple minutes. We'll give that away. I didn't realize it done snuck up on us. Let me go through the rest of the questions that people had sent. There wasn't but another 1 or 2. There's just one more. Best way to ship a bow. Donald said in a box. You really got to shop around a little bit. We've had them come in TV boxes. We've had them come in bow cases. 2 bows came in a couple weeks ago in bow cases, and I love that idea because they're meant, there's foam in them. You can beat and bang them, and just make sure you like zip tie the handle and all that closed, because you don't want it to come open or somebody to take it or whatever. But when they came in, they had been shipped through the post office, and they paid like $100 to get them here, and I was like, ooh. And when I shipped them back, I just compared prices, post office or UPS, and UPS was like $30, and I want to say it was Montana. So anyway, I hate that they paid that much to get them here, but definitely ship. Usually if I'm shipping a bow, especially if it's in some weird big box somebody sent in, I'll compare post office versus UPS versus FedEx, even though our FedEx place is way up the road. But if it's a lot cheaper, I'll still use them, and I've never had any trouble out of FedEx. And always put that insurance on them.
I was going to say, put insurance on it.
Because we, in a while, hadn't had any trouble, but we have had in the past some stuff, get beat up or whatever, and you want to make sure it's covered. So,
Charles said they always seem to have limb issues on the Bowtex. One of the guys in my shop had a limb fail 3rd time shooting it.
I hadn't heard of any limb stuff like on the brand new ones.
Yeah, I
think I can't remember my year, 2 or 3 years ago now, they went to a different limb. I think they quit using Gordon and started doing them in-house.
I think so.
And I know across the board that helped them a lot, because before that it was like I wouldn't touch one. You know what I mean? Like there's no way I'd have wanted that series in here.
You couldn't even get on Archery Talk without the first feed being
my Bowtex.
My Blowtech.
Yeah.
But I think when they did the BTX 31,
somewhere in there,
I think is when they went to in-house limbs.
And we were kind of like waiting a year or two, like let's see what's going to happen. And I hadn't heard near as much about stuff happening. So I guess if you'll bring up your numbers, we will get ready to draw a number.
Let's see here.
And then we'll jump over to Facebook for a few minutes and say, hey.
Let's see here.
So if you're on here, don't know what we're about to do, we told everybody to pick a number between 1 and 25. We're giving away a cloak, which is that little smoke machine, whatever you want to call it, wind checker machine, a little bracelet or arm, whatever you call it, rubber band thing. Shield cut X vein sample pack from Boning, and a Black Widow deer lure decal.
All right, you ready?
Let's give them 2 seconds just in case somebody just heard that. But I think I hadn't seen anybody new pop in. And as usual, send me your address to archeryshack@gmail.com after we, dang, it was this year's bow, so maybe they're still having some limb problems.
Maybe so. I hadn't heard any, but.
Shoot me your shipping address to archeryshack@gmail.com, whoever wins, and I'll get this in the mail. I think we're good to draw.
Number 24.
24.
I don't remember seeing it.
I'm looking. I didn't see it, but I'm going to go back through and make sure I didn't miss it. All right, I don't see a 24. Let's try it again.
Number 4.
Number 4.
I remember seeing a 4.
I'm a looking. Muddy Ducks. I don't know how you pick these numbers, but you can win some stuff, Muddy Ducks. Muddy Ducks ATV has won our pack of goodies, and we will try our best every week to come up. I've got about 3 bags of random stuff. Now, some of it's just junk, but of random stuff they gave us at the ATA show, little sample packs and stuff. That's pretty much what I'm working out of for these little giveaways, but I'll have to dig. I almost forgot this week. I ran in there and I was like, oh, Lord, I didn't get nothing out. I grabbed this stuff, but I'll try to get some stuff.
I'll also look and see what I got in some of my grab bags and see.
Somewhere I've got a bag slapped full of hats. I mean, like 30 of them, different companies. So I'll try to whoop some of them out. And I don't wear a hat a whole lot, so we'll give them away. Let's see. DLR said 24 hours. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I guess we'll get off here. We're going to jump over on Facebook for a few minutes, and then that'll be it. So if you're on Facebook, look up Friends of the Archeryshack. It'll take me a minute to run over there and flip everything over. And thank y'all for watching. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, everything.
Yep.
And if you got any questions you'd like us to talk about on here, you can email them to me or TJ. Contact stuff's in the description. If you want a t-shirt or anything like that, I put the link in the description. And I forget what else is down there. But anyway, click on that. We shipped out a couple shirts this week that people had ordered, so that's pretty cool. The lime green ones we were wearing. So anyway, we'll see y'all on Facebook in a few minutes.
Yep.
Congrats to Muddy Ducks.
Congrats.